Have you ever wondered why some people seem to live in a completely different reality? Like they discovered a secret code that transforms literally everything overnight. While you might be asking yourself when it's going to be your turn to discover this secret, well, today you're going to find out exactly what these people know, and more importantly, you're going to learn how to use this in your own life to manifest the life of your dreams. Because there's a specific moment, a turning point that separates those who keep dreaming from those who start living their dreams. And that moment could be today. What I'm about to reveal goes against everything you've learned about change and transformation. It's going to challenge your beliefs about how long it takes to change your life. And when you fully understand the science behind what I'm about to share, you'll never see reality the same way again. The difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't in what they do. It's in the frequency they develop. And by the end of this conversation, you'll master this frequency too. Before we continue, in the comments, write exactly this phrase: I open myself to receive all the abundance the universe has for me. This energy statement activates something powerful in the quantum field that you're about to discover. Let's start with something brain science recently discovered about how our minds work. Your brain, this amazing machine inside your head, can't tell the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined experience. This isn't theory. This is proven science. But here's where it gets interesting. If your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined, this means you can literally train your mind for a new reality before it even happens in the physical world. It's like you could reprogram your frequency until creating your dreams becomes automatic. And when this happens, when your inner energy lines up with a new possibility, something extraordinary begins to unfold. Because there's something basic that most people don't understand about how reality works. They believe outside circumstances create inner feelings. But actually, it's exactly the opposite. Feelings create circumstances. And here's the game-changing part. You can consciously choose what frequency to experience, no matter what's happening around you. This sounds simple, but it's the foundation of all real transformation. Picture for a moment, and this is just the beginning, that you could wake up tomorrow radiating the energy of someone who already has everything they want. Not faking it, but genuinely vibrating this energy. Like abundance, love, health were already your natural reality. What would happen to your choices? To your actions, to your whole life? This is just a small taste of what I'm talking about. Because there's a science behind this that goes way beyond traditional positive thinking. We're talking about the quantum field, where all creation is born. And when you understand how this works, you realize that transforming your life isn't luck, it's energy precision. But before teaching exactly how to do this, I need to share something that's going to sound weird at first. Most people trying to change their lives are actually unconsciously sabotaging their own results. And they don't even know it. I'll explain exactly how this happens, because when you see this pattern, you can break the cycle forever. Your subconscious mind, which controls 95% of everything you think, feel, and do, is programmed by your past patterns. It's like having a computer running old software for decades. And here's the problem. Every time you try to create something new using the same mental patterns as always, it's like trying to run the latest program on a computer from 1990. It just doesn't work at the speed you need. But the good news is you can reprogram this system, not bit by bit, not gradually, but through a frequency shift so deep that your entire biology reorganizes. And when this happens, you don't need to force anything anymore. Opportunities start showing up naturally. Let me explain something that's going to seem impossible until you try it. There's a huge difference between wanting something and radiating the energy of already having something. When you want from a place of lack, you're automatically sending the wrong message to the universe. You're creating more of the experience of not having. But when you radiate the frequency of someone who already lives this reality, transformation flows naturally. You stop begging and start receiving. You stop desperately searching and start magnetically attracting. This is how the law of attraction really works. And here's where it gets fascinating from a scientific standpoint. Researchers found that your heart's electromagnetic field reaches up to 10 feet beyond your physical body. This means you're literally broadcasting your inner energy into the environment, even without realizing how this affects everything around you. Think about people you know who seem to have natural luck. Have you noticed how there's something special about their energy? How interesting conversations and opportunities start happening when they show up. They're not doing anything different on the outside. The difference is in the frequency they're broadcasting. And here's the most incredible part. You can consciously tune this frequency. It's not some special gift certain people are born with. It's an energy skill that can be developed, like learning any craft. But here, I need to be straight with you about why this fails for many people. The reason most folks never master this ability is surprisingly simple. They're emotionally hooked on problems. Yes, you heard that right. We become dependent on the emotions of our drama. When you constantly live in stress, worry, frustration, or fear, your body gets used to these chemicals. They become familiar, predictable, and whenever you try to raise your vibration to something better, your subconscious mind pulls you back to what's known. It's like being an emotional addict, but instead of being addicted to substances, you're addicted to the emotions that block your own abundance. And this happens because our primitive brain was designed for survival, not success. It's constantly scanning the environment for threats, dangers, problems, and when it doesn't find any real danger, it creates imaginary dangers to justify staying on high alert. That's why so many people feel uncomfortable when things start going well. The brain whispers things that block your growth. This is too good to last. Something bad's going to happen. I don't deserve this. And then, without realizing it, you start creating situations that prove these limiting beliefs right. It's a vicious cycle that keeps you stuck in the same reality. But here's the revolutionary truth that's going to change how you live. You can reprogram this primitive programming. You can teach your brain that safety, prosperity, and joy are the natural state. And this starts with a conscious decision to stop identifying with problems. Look at your thoughts right now. How many of them are about what's wrong, what's missing, what needs fixing? Now imagine what it would be like if 80% of your thoughts were about possibilities, gratitude, creation. How would this change your energy? How would this change everything? Awareness is the first step to freedom, because once you clearly see these patterns, you can choose differently. And the most powerful choice you can make is deciding that the old version of you, the one that defined itself by problems and limitations, doesn't exist anymore. This isn't denying reality. It's refusing to let temporary circumstances define your permanent identity. It's declaring that you're bigger than any situation you're facing. It's deciding to align with your true nature. And here's a deep truth that's going to completely change your approach. You can't create a new future from the energy of your past. It's impossible. It's like trying to drive forward while only looking in the rearview mirror. If you want to manifest real abundance, you need to stop vibrating scarcity. If you want true love, you need to stop radiating lack. But how do you make this shift? How do you break decades of conditioning? The answer lies in a practice that combines laser intention with elevated emotion. It's not just passive visualization, it's total embodiment of the new frequency. And here, I need to be very specific about how to do this right, because the difference between transforming your life and just daydreaming lies in the energy details. Most people visualize like they're watching a movie about someone else's life. But true transformation is immersive. It's experiential, it's visceral. When you practice this authentically, you're not seeing your ideal life from the outside. You're living it from the inside. You're not watching a better version of yourself. You're being that version. Every sense is involved, every emotion is activated, every cell in your body is participating in the experience. It's like the difference between reading about driving a car and actually being behind the wheel. One is information, the other is direct experience. And your body doesn't know the difference between a real experience and a vividly created experience. And here's something that's going to seem backwards, but it's crucial. The more you try to force transformation, the more it moves away. It's like trying to catch a cat that doesn't want to be caught. The more you chase it, the more it runs. True change requires a delicate balance of focused intention and relaxed detachment. Think of a powerful magnet. It doesn't force metal to come to it. It doesn't struggle, doesn't stress, doesn't get anxious. It simply is magnetic, and attraction is inevitable. When you become the version of yourself that already has everything you want, you become a magnet for these experiences. But let's get to what really matters in practice. How do you do this day to day? How do you keep this frequency when you're stuck in traffic, dealing with bills, facing challenges? The answer lies in creating reset moments that reconnect you with this transformed energy. And here we get to the moment where you'll learn a specific technique that can completely reorganize your inner reality. It's simple, but incredibly powerful. It can be done anywhere, anytime. I call it the total energy reset. First, find a position where you feel present in your body. It can be sitting, standing, walking. What matters is that you feel your feet on the ground and your breathing flowing naturally. Now, put one hand on your heart and another on your belly. This isn't symbolic, it's applied brain science. You're creating a physical connection with your two oldest brains, the heart and gut, that process emotion before your rational mind even notices. Breathe deeply, and as you exhale, imagine you're releasing everything that doesn't serve the person you're becoming. Not just air, but worries, fears, limitations, old stories. Let all of this dissolve in the exhale. On the next inhale, instead of just pulling air, imagine you're breathing in pure possibility. Visualize this energy entering not just through your lungs, but through every pore of your skin. You're literally breathing a new reality into your system. Now comes the most important part, total emotional anchoring. Imagine you're already completely the person who has everything you want. Don't see this from outside as an observer. Be this from inside as the main character. How would you walk if you were already this person? How would you breathe? What energy would flow through your body? Feel the deep gratitude of already having all this. Feel the relief of not having to fight against life anymore. Feel the calm confidence of someone who knows they're exactly where they need to be. Let these emotions fill every cell of your body like a wave of transformation. And here's the element that transforms this from a mental exercise into real brain reprogramming. While you feel these elevated emotions, create a simple physical gesture. It could be touching your thumb to your index finger. It could be placing both hands on your heart. It could be any movement that feels natural to you. You're creating a physical anchor for this transformed state. Finally, make a silent but powerful statement. I am this. I am already everything I want to be. Not as an empty affirmation you repeat mechanically, but as a deep recognition of who you really are when not limited by temporary circumstances. Practice this daily, especially during transition moments, when waking up, before important situations, when you feel yourself slipping back into old patterns. You're literally creating a new brain pattern, a new way of existing in the world. And here's the secret nobody tells you. Once you master this practice, stop constantly checking the outside world to see if it's working. That's living in the past. True transformation happens when you become so absorbed in the energy of your new identity that you forget to check if it's working. It's like planting a seed in rich soil. You don't keep digging it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust the natural process, provide the right conditions, and let life's intelligence do its work. But what about when doubts inevitably show up? When current reality seems to completely contradict what you're creating? When people around you question whether you're being unrealistic? This is the ultimate test. This is the moment that separates those who truly transform their lives from those who just experiment. Doubts aren't your enemies. They're opportunities to strengthen your inner conviction. Every time you choose to keep your frequency high, despite contradictory appearances, you're building spiritual muscle that gets stronger with each rep. And here's something crucial that'll save you years of frustration. Transformation rarely happens exactly the way you expect. The universe is infinitely more creative and intelligent than our limited minds. So when you're creating a relationship, the person might show up in a completely unexpected way. When you're focused on financial abundance, opportunities might come through paths you never considered possible. That's why it's so important to focus on the emotional essence of what you want, not the specific form. If you want a relationship, focus on the feeling of being deeply loved, understood, valued. If you want prosperity, focus on the sensation of freedom, security, generosity. When you do this, You give space for the universe to work its creative intelligence. You stop limiting possibilities with rigid expectations and allow genuinely innovative solutions to emerge. But I'll be completely honest about something most teachers don't mention. There's a gestation period for all creation. Just like a planted seed needs time to become a fruit tree, your intentions need time to materialize in the dense physical world. And it's during this period that most people give up. They plant the intention on Monday, and by Wednesday they're checking if it sprouted. By Friday they decide it doesn't work. By Sunday they're looking for another technique. It's like planting and replanting the same seed every week, never giving it time to grow roots. But when you understand that creation is already happening the moment you align your energy with it, even if it's not yet physically visible, everything changes. You develop active patience, confidence that doesn't depend on outside evidence. And here's where things get really interesting. When you stop reacting to reality as a victim of circumstances and start responding as a conscious creator, something deeply magical happens. You realize you were never really a victim of anything. You were always the main author of your experience. This realization changes everything. Because when you recognize yourself as the creator of your reality, you also recognize yourself as having the power to recreate it. There are no more excuses, no more blame, no more if only. There's just you and your infinite creative power. When you reach this level of awareness, transforming stops being something you do occasionally and becomes something you are constantly. You no longer need to struggle to attract abundance because you naturally radiate abundance. You no longer need to search for love because you are love in action. You no longer need to chase opportunities because they're magnetically drawn to your energy. This doesn't mean challenges stop appearing in your life, but your relationship with them transforms completely. Instead of seeing impossible obstacles, you see intelligent redirections. Instead of seeing devastating problems, you see opportunities to expand even more. Instead of being a victim of circumstances, you become an alchemist who transforms any situation into gold. And here's perhaps the most beautiful part of this entire journey. When you consistently live in this elevated frequency, you automatically become a beacon for other people. Your simple presence starts awakening dormant possibilities in others. You don't need to preach, convince, or prove anything to anyone. Your life becomes the living proof that an extraordinary reality is not only possible but natural. People start spontaneously commenting that there's something different about you. They might not be able to identify exactly what it is, but they feel a special quality in your energy. Conversations become deeper and more meaningful. Connections become more authentic and lasting. Even strangers start opening up in surprising ways in your presence. And this happens because you stopped wearing social masks. You stopped pretending to be smaller than you are to make others comfortable with their own limitations. You stopped dimming your light so as not to outshine anyone. You simply decided to shine with your natural intensity, and this gives unconscious permission for others to do the same. But maybe you're thinking, this sounds too good to be true. And I totally understand this resistance. We've been systematically conditioned to believe that life is fundamentally hard, that good things don't last, that true happiness is just a temporary fantasy for naive people. But what if these limiting beliefs were just cultural programming? What if they were simply thoughts you inherited from a society that lost touch with its natural creative power? What if the truth were exactly the opposite of what you were taught? Brain plasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize, shows us scientifically that no mental pattern is permanent. Deep traumas can be healed. Limiting patterns that have existed for decades can be transformed. Entire identities can be recreated. There's no point of no return in human consciousness. And starting over doesn't mean denying your past or pretending difficulties didn't exist. It means consciously choosing which stories from the past will continue influencing your future. It means deciding which lessons you'll take as wisdom and which emotional baggage you'll leave behind as unnecessary weight. Every experience you've lived, including the most painful and challenging ones, contributed to the depth, wisdom, and compassion you have today. You don't need to carry the emotional weight of these experiences to honor your growth. You can sincerely thank the lessons learned and choose to completely free yourself from patterns that no longer serve the extraordinary person you're becoming. You have absolute power to rewrite your personal story. Not just in your mind as a positive thinking exercise, but in concrete reality, as a total energy reorganization. Because when you fundamentally change the story you tell about yourself, you automatically change the energy you send out to the world. And when you change your energy, the entire world around you reorganizes to reflect this new frequency. So here's my direct invitation to you. From this moment on, live as if your deepest transformation were already absolutely real. Not in a forced or fake way, but in a genuine and natural way. Feel deep gratitude for everything that's manifesting. Make daily decisions from this transformed new identity, and then watch with scientific curiosity what starts happening. Notice the synchronicities that start appearing. Notice how people respond differently to your new energy. Notice the unexpected opportunities that start arising. Notice how you feel about yourself and about life's possibilities. And here's something absolutely fascinating. You can start noticing almost immediately. When you're genuinely aligned with your new frequency, the entire universe starts communicating with you through unmistakable signs. Repeated numbers that constantly appear in places impossible to ignore. Songs that play at the exact moment with the perfect message you needed to hear. Seemingly casual conversations that contain exactly the specific guidance you were looking for. Books literally fall from shelves in front of you with crucial information. You think intensely about someone, and that person calls you minutes later for no apparent reason. You desperately need a solution to a problem, and it appears through a TV commercial, a casual social media post, or a seemingly innocent phrase from a complete stranger. This isn't random coincidence, it's intelligent synchronicity. It's the universe undeniably confirming you're on the right track, that you're tuned to the correct frequency, that you're actively collaborating with forces much greater than your individual mind. And here's something even deeper that'll exponentially speed up this entire process. The more you consciously recognize and sincerely thank these synchronicities, the more intense and frequent they become. Authentic gratitude works like a super powerful magnet for daily miracles. Start today keeping a specific synchronicity journal. Every night before sleeping, write at least 3 coincidental or special things that happened during the day. It could be something seemingly small, like finding the perfect parking spot exactly where you needed it, or something big like receiving an unexpected job offer that completely changes your life. The objective size doesn't matter. Conscious recognition is what activates the circuit. Because when you train your attention to notice the magic that's already constantly present in your life, you energetically qualify to experience even deeper and more spectacular levels of magic. Because ultimately, this isn't really about getting specific things from the outside world. It's about you reconnecting with who you really are underneath all the layers of social conditioning. It's about you remembering your natural magnificence that was never really lost, just temporarily forgotten. It's about you recognizing that you were never genuinely separated from everything you love, everything you want, everything you consider sacred. You just momentarily lost the roadmap, showing how to access this eternal connection that always existed. And when you deeply remember this, when you viscerally reconnect with this fundamental truth about your nature, something extraordinary and irreversible happens within you. You completely stop living in the frequency of lack and start naturally operating in the frequency of infinite abundance. You stop functioning from fear as your primary motivation and start operating exclusively from love as your creative force. You stop automatically reacting to life's events like you're a leaf in the wind and start consciously responding as a sovereign creator of your own experience. But there's one final aspect that's rarely discussed openly, and it's perhaps the most powerful and paradoxical of all: the art of intelligent surrender. Yes, after all this talk about focused intention and directed energy and calibrated frequency, the supreme secret is learning when and how to completely let go of control. This might seem contradictory at first, but it's not. There's a subtle but absolutely crucial difference between focused intention and desperate attachment. Focused intention is like planting a seed with care, love, and wisdom in fertile soil. Desperate attachment is like digging up that same seed every day to anxiously check if it's growing. When you plant your intention with crystal clarity, when you align your energy with anticipated gratitude, when you sustain your frequency with unwavering consistency, and then you completely let go. You trust the process. You allow universal intelligence to work. You surrender to perfect timing that's always much wiser than your human impatience. This surrender isn't defeated passivity. It's active collaboration with forces much greater than your individual ego. It's humbly recognizing that you're part of a cosmic symphony, much more complex and beautiful than your mind can totally understand. And here's where everything you learn today integrates into a final understanding that'll forever change how you live. The day everything changes in your life isn't a specific date on the calendar you mark with anxiety. It's the day you finally decide, with every fiber of your being, that the limited and conditioned version of yourself no longer exists. It's the day you stop timidly negotiating with your deepest dreams and start boldly embodying them. It's the day you realize with absolute clarity that you always had all the power necessary to create any reality. You just needed to remember how to access and direct this power. Your new life isn't waiting in some distant and uncertain future. It already exists completely formed in the infinite field of possibilities that constantly surrounds us. The only real question that remains is this: are you genuinely ready to meet it? Are you willing to become the person who naturally lives this reality? If the answer resonating in your heart is an unequivocal yes, then this moment you're living now, this exact moment while you absorb these words, is your turning point. This is your day. This is the beginning of the life some part of you always knew was not only possible, but inevitable. Now we arrive at the moment of your conscious choice. Because everything you just discovered only has real transformative value if you decide to apply it completely. Knowledge without committed application is just intellectual entertainment, but knowledge applied with unshakable faith and consistent action, that's pure alchemy that transforms lead into gold. So here's my final question for you, and it's the question that'll determine whether this was just another interesting video you watched or the moment that divided your life into before and after. What's the first specific thing you're going to do differently today to honor and express the extraordinary person you're becoming? Not something you're going to think about doing. Not something you plan to do tomorrow. Something you're going to do today in the next few hours as an unequivocal declaration to the universe that you're no longer the same person who started watching this video. Your extraordinary, abundant, loving, and meaningful life isn't an impossible fantasy. It's your natural reality when you remove all the layers of conditioning that made you forget who you really are. Welcome back to your true home. Welcome to your new frequency. Welcome to the life of your deepest dreams that now begins.